In order to set up the recently bought settings, scroll down. Click Theme Settings, scroll down again, and click Recently Bought. The Recently Bought settings is an extremely cool feature inside of Booster Theme. It allows owners of stores to be able to sell more products easier using something called social proof. Social proof is a phenomenon that when a user sees that someone else has bought a specific product, they're more likely to buy that product as well, and even more if they have the opportunity. So that's something that we definitely want to have inside of our Booster Theme stores. So the recently bought settings begins with this enable and disable. We could click right here and enable the recently bought settings onto our store. This recently bought settings, right, this enable button, this is for web versions. We also have another enable button that we can use for mobile. So if we decide to turn it on, we can be able to see it. But this down here is the recently bought settings. You see? And it actually lists out that Huey H, or whatever person you put, has purchased this product, and it shows the product. It's really cool, really useful. So if we click, this actually allows the user, when they click, to be sent to the actual product page, which is really cool for customer retention. We're not sending them to a different place where they could get lost. It carries them directly to a place where they could be able to make a purchase. Really useful. All right, so in the recently bought settings, we also have this collection. We can choose which collection we want to show up inside of the recently bought collection. So making sure that this is enabled, right? And if we want it to be enabled on mobile, that this is enabled as well, then we go down here, select the collection, and let's say we want the discounted yoga pants collection. We select it and click select. And now that collection will be shown in that recently bought pop-up. Let's scroll down some more. It also has some instructions I don't want to miss. It says if no collection is chosen, up to 15 best-selling items will be used. So even if you don't have this set up, right, or you haven't chosen a collection, it will still show some products. But now that this collection is chosen, that's what's being shown below. See, from the yoga pants section. So now we can mess with our frequency. How often do we want this to be shown? So we say show every 1 second, right? That might be a little bit too quick. So we can take this and move it maybe to about, let's say, 10 seconds. By setting this show every 10 seconds, it gives some users some time to scroll a little bit before they see a pop-up. But you can definitely move this to wherever you desire. You can move it up or you can move it down, maybe 4 seconds. But it's definitely a good idea when setting this to make sure that you show some sense of urgency, right? So the sooner that they pop up is the more urgency, the longer that it takes for it to pop up, it might not show that same kind of urgency to your users. So something to know. For the display, you can set how long you want this to be shown. We have it right now for 13 seconds. I will maybe bring it down a little bit, maybe like 10 seconds. But you can definitely set it for whatever you desire, right? So let's now go down to the styling. So we can choose if we want it to be on the left position or on the right. We could see that it's on the left right now. And we'll see when it pops up. See, it's on the left. We could also move it to the right if we want. So I'll click the right. See, so when it pops up now, it's on the right. And I kind of like that, so I'll leave it here for now. We can change the background color from white to, whatever other color we choose or whatever other color we desire. We can change the text color from black to maybe whatever color goes with our site, but I'm going to leave that as white and as black because I like how that looks. As we scroll down, we could actually set the border radius. So what that basically means is that we can set how much of a curve there is. Right now it's at 100 pixels, right? That's what the PX stands for. But we can actually drop this down, let's say do 50. See? And we can see the difference. It's not as round, it's a little bit square still. So see, that's really cool. You can mess with the border radius to make it up or down, wherever you like. I'll leave it at 50 pixels for right now. For the image type, we can change how the image looks. You see that image, how it's kind of circular inside of there? we can change it where it has no border, or we can change it with width. So I'll change it with no border. So if we look, the image does not have a border. You can't see it inside of that, right? So see, that's what this allows to do, right? It doesn't have it smooths out those edges. It doesn't necessarily have any specific styling on them. You see that? That's with no border. So if we change it with border, so see with border, you see how it looks right now, right? And it says that determines whether or not it determines whether or not the image will have surrounding space, right? So if you have with border, it'll have surrounding space. If you have without border, it won't have surrounding space. So I'll leave it as with border. So for names, this is a really cool customizable section. But right here you have a check mark. If you uncheck it, it will remove that. You see how it says Raquel R? It will remove that and it'll turn it into somebody, or excuse me, into someone, right? So you could remove this if you want. See, so when we uncheck it, it says someone here, which might be cool if you don't want them to be able to see that there's a name attached to it. But if you want there to be that name, we could click this and check it again. All right, and while that loads up, we can also change the name format, right? So we saw a shortening name. Before it was Raquel R, right? So it doesn't show the full last name. We could leave it like that, as shortened the last name. Or, you see, it's shortened last name right now. It says Y. We could change that to full name. Right, so when it pops up again, you'll see the full name. Or you can show just initials. I'm going to leave it at full name, but it's cool to be able to have these choices. So you can choose which one best works for your situation. See, and now we have the full name. But where do these names come from? We could actually set a list of names here. So if you have, any person's names that you specifically want to use, you can be able to put them there. So I could add a name like Bob Jones, and I'll make sure that it's separated with that comma. And then now, if it goes for those names, it'll choose a random name, and then we'll be able to see that name in the pop-up that'll appear here. See, we see Augustina Angelo, and if we look, Augustina Angelo right there. So see, it goes down this list of names. So you could customize it. If you have somebody's names in particular you want to use, this would be a good place to be able to put it. But make sure when you're putting the names together that at the end of every name you have a comma in place. See, like how we added one right down there, right? So a comma to separate each name. So this is the recently bought settings. I hope you enjoy it. It's one of the coolest features in my opinion, because once they come directly to your site, they can bump right into it. And as they scroll, it's something that they'll see. So it's something that will attract your buyers and be able to allow you to have more sales. Thank you for watching this video. Please refer to our Help Center for more information.